Welcome to the Catholic Forge, a conversational podcast where we gather to explore our Catholic faith and discuss how it forms our lives. All are welcome to join in this conversation and journey. Thank you for listening. Hey everyone, welcome to the show. This is Eric and Missouri, and really in the studio now. We've done other guest episodes where I've interviewed people, but now actually literally in the same room where I normally record the show is Tori. I'm saying Mrs. Thompson or something like that, but anyway, so welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I know it probably doesn't seem very exciting because we're literally just in this room that's in our house, and it's not like, you know, we don't have John or Ben on the screen with us, which normally we would. Ben has the week off, and John is in some eastern seaboard state at some convention or conference. So I texted John and I said, what do you want me to do? And he never responded. So this is what we're doing.
This is literally the only option besides interviewing Hannah.
Well, yeah, I guess they've both done that. I don't know how well she would do. Evie's not that much older than she is, but
Isn't Michael younger than her?
I thought he was 5.
I don't know. Sorry, I don't know how old your kids are, John.
There are too many. It's hard to keep track. Anyway, well, welcome to the show. And so what we're going to do tonight, we'll just talk, ask some questions, and then we'll have a formal section where I ask very specific questions. We'll play 5 random questions toward the end. So, indeed, this is the first time that I don't know even what you would say, but a wife of a forge master has been on the show, except, of course, Cecilia was on the Last Jedi episode, but she was only there like 30% of the time because the baby and everything, and so that wasn't an interview of her. She was just there. But now we're breaking the glass ceiling, and this is just the two of us, and so hopefully this will kind of, you know, push the issue a little bit and get both of the other guys to do the same. But we'll see how well it goes. I don't know for sure.
Or you'll never want to do it again. Because it'll go so badly.
I don't think so. I don't think that's possible. So you just had a baby 6 weeks ago tomorrow, and congratulations. And how is it now being at home with 3 of them alone most of the day, as opposed to 2 or 1 or at all? Here's why. You know, I was home today and I finished eating dinner and I laid down and I was asleep for an hour, and I woke up and they were crawling on my face and you were saying it's time to get up. I don't know how. Maybe you do cocaine when I'm not here. I don't know how you stay awake and do this with them. So what is it like to have Elizabeth be so small and to kind of corral the other kids? And I think it's worth mentioning because, and I don't know definitively, you can speak to this with your friends who are mothers, but it's what I see among my friends anyway, or other guys I talk to, almost all of them just put them all in daycare. You know, very few, to my knowledge. I'm not saying very few in general. I'm just saying for what I know, you don't see a lot of this anymore. Everyone's got to be working and staying busy and making money and Dave Ramsey the finances or whatever. And so it's a long way of asking you, what's it like?
Well, I kept having different thoughts as you said different things.
Sure.
That now I'm trying to keep it all together because you said a lot of different things just now.
Yeah, whatever you want.
But first of all, I want to respond to the last part because I think a lot of people just don't have the option to have someone at home because of their finances, and it's, you know, maybe their wife or husband would like to be at home and they just can't.
Of course, yeah.
So I just don't want anyone to feel bad. It just works out that way that I didn't have an established career, that it makes more financial sense for me to be home with the kids, and I get to work from home part-time a little bit to supplement your income.
Sure.
But yeah, so if you're someone in a family where both of you have to work, you know, not hating on that at all.
No.
And sometimes I wish that I could just drop Hannah and Daniel off at daycare and leave them there all day long.
Sure.
But it's not been that bad yet, and a lot of it doesn't have anything to do with my skill or competency, whatever, taking care of them, but because we've been fortunate enough to have babies that sleep fairly well. It feels kind of weird saying that after it just took me a really long time to get her to go to bed. Mm-hmm. But overall, in general, she sleeps pretty well, doesn't have any problems breastfeeding. Honestly, I think it's easier to take care of a newborn in some ways than it is kind of that 6 month to like 2 year range. I feel like they're harder, and then Daniel and Hannah are old enough that they kind of have gotten easier, at least in some ways, again, that they're kind of self-sufficient. But when they're so little, they spend so much time sleeping.
Yeah.
You know, if you can get them to go to sleep quickly, then half or a third of the day they're asleep. So
people at church ask me, "Oh, how's the baby?" And I say, "She's really boring." You know?
Right.
And I see her for like 10 minutes a day. Because like you don't play with a 6-month-old or a 6-week-old. You hold her while you go to the bathroom, and then I hand her back to you, and then you breastfeed her, and she goes to bed, and that's it. But that will change very soon, of course, which is wonderful. It's fun. I mean, I really like the interactions I have with Hannah and Daniel. Not all of them, but most of them on the whole. But I know that like you feel very obviously very near to Elizabeth when she's so small and completely dependent upon you 100%. So it's different expressions, but yeah. So the day to day then is a lot more smooth because she's a bit more stable.
Right, right. And I've not had a particularly difficult baby, and so I don't want to compare to someone that has a baby with colic or that will not go to sleep unless you're driving around in the car or with them, because obviously when I'm home alone, that it's not really practical to load up 3 kids in the car to drive around till the baby sleeps. So, if that's someone else's situation, it could be pretty tough.
Good luck. I felt the very deep pangs of it when, right after you had her, and then my mom was here, and then your mom was here, and not just because they are our moms, which is enough. This is enough. But just having that support, it really gives credence to the whole, it takes a village and all that. And so... Yeah,
the first couple weeks would have been a mess without help, because we're kind of getting our bearings now at 6 weeks, and I am a little more healed up and able to do things. And even though I'm not really supposed to be, for instance, lifting Daniel, I can do it without feeling like I'm ripping in half or something, So.
Yeah. Well, I think you're doing great from what I, observe through social media posts and
what does that mean?
And what I see you posting online, right? It seems like it's going well.
Because I wouldn't post anything I'm crying and everyone is crying at the same time. That's usually I don't post selfies of that.
It's very manufactured. The image, of course. But no, I think it's good, and so that. Thank you for sharing that. I think that this is a side of the podcast that we can talk about it. The three of us can. We can talk about it all day long, but it's basically the same story. I got home and I held the baby, and then I made dinner, and then everyone went to bed, and I got to play PS4. It's basically the same story for all three of us. No offense, I know Ben wouldn't like me saying that, but
no, none of them do that. Just
but we all work during the day, and some of us work long days. Ben's hours are different than John's and mine, so the general story is going to be along those lines. It's not at all like what you are expressing, and so.
That was something else that you said, that you're so tired and you fell asleep. It's probably just because you stay up late, because I'm still getting more sleep than you, because I have a more disciplined sleep schedule. It gets to a certain point at night, I'm like, gotta go to bed, good night, see you. You can tell now by Facebook Messenger, so-and-so was last active this many minutes ago, and so then I can tell, Eric was up until 2 a.m. at least, and then maybe he stopped using Facebook and was still watching TV or something, so.
I wish I could turn that off.
Usually I don't check it anyway. It's not like I'm looking at that every day, but it's there.
I don't care to be tracked. Stop using that entirely. Thank you for sharing that again. Hopefully the very few women listeners we have would appreciate that. Second question before we get to the big five is, I know that you are plugged into these different online communities. The vegetable one, the bowl full of...
Well, there's the blog is Carrots for Michaelmas, and then she does a podcast with one of her friends who has a blog called Fountains of Home. So they've combined it into Fountains of Carrots. So sounds weird, but it's just because those are their two blog names put together.
Sure.
But they have, especially Haley at Carrots for Michaelmas has a really large blog following, and she's written for some other, I think America Magazine, I think, and
That's
I don't
cool.
know what else. But anyway, because they have all these people following their blogs, they then created this online community. So actually, it was kind of cool. Recently, Hannah goes to Catechesis of the Good Shepherd at a different parish in town. And I found out that one of the other women who has her kids there, or one kid there anyway, with Hannah, and then the wife of their youth minister and outreach, and I don't know what else he does exactly.
Sure.
Both of them are in that same group, and I would never have realized, except that I got to talking to one of them and added her on Facebook, and
then
small world.
Then it popped up and it said...
Right, they're both members. Yeah.
Right, yeah, okay. Well, that's cool. Well, that's the question is not where to get carrots, but since you're involved in this and other kind of groups or communities, online and otherwise, involving young women, what do you see, and you can speak as broadly as you want on this, and this is not only for the gentlemen who are listening, few of them though there are, again, just few listeners in general, but especially for the ladies out there who listen, thank you for listening. What are you observing in these? I don't know. I couldn't get into these places. I don't think. I think they're limited to women only. What do you see there? What kind of ideas, yearnings, inclinations, devotions? I guess the Carrots is Catholic.
Right, both of them are Catholic.
Okay.
Most of the women in that particular group are Catholic, but then you also see Protestants that are thinking about converting, or they're not really interested in converting, but they have
the show, or whatever,
right, because they talk about motherhood and literature, and so those apply to people that aren't Catholic too.
It plays across the line. So, what kind of things do you see in this group that you might think would be noteworthy to share, takeaways, or perhaps even as an ambassador of that community, if you had to make a pitch for, hey, if you're out there and you're a Christian, but you don't feel like you're really tied in with anyone else, here's why you should seek, of all things, if you can imagine it, an online community, an online faith community, which even coming out of my mouth sounds preposterous. But it can work, it does work, and even the Catholic Forge is an experiment in making that work. So what do you see?
One of the main draws for the group, for women anyway, but especially mothers, so many of them in the group are stay-at-home moms. So when you're at home with your kids and it's really difficult to get out and, to make Catholic friends, even if there are other young Catholic moms at your church, you get there and you go to Mass and then your kids are running all different directions and you can't really just casually stay and chat.
Right.
And form friendships that way. They're able to have those more long, drawn-out discussions because they can type it out, or you're stuck at home but you're on your phone, you have access to the internet, and people are asking each other for parenting advice, or what good books have you read lately, or advice about their marriages, things like that. And when you come to that group that you're going to get mostly Catholic advice, but Christian women in general, coming from a certain moral stance in general, you feel pretty safe getting advice there. And also, of course, with Facebook, with likes, even if somebody gives bad advice, you can see, no likes on this one, and then the person who has 20 likes on their advice, maybe it's a little better. It sounds kind of funny to say that as it's coming out of my mouth, but it makes sense.
Yeah, I would say if that was the situation, Like if there was, a bucket of potatoes group or whatever, and I was going to give someone advice, but someone said the exact same thing that I was going to say, I would just like that.
Right.
There's no point in me typing it over again and making someone waste their time reading my words. It's I just say I would like it as a way of saying that's what I would say. I affirm that.
Yeah,
sure.
So not that necessarily the piece of advice that gets the most votes, so to speak, is always going to be solid, but in general.
Sure.
So just that you can have that community even though you're stuck in your house with your kids or you don't really have time.
Yeah.
And obviously it would be better in a lot of ways if you could have it in person, but because of the life situation that so many of these people are in, this is a pretty good...
Yeah.
It's better than not having any contact. And also there are a lot of women in there who have converted and maybe they don't have any Catholic friends yet, or they don't have any supportive family, and so this is
no small group ministry at their parish,
right. If they're in a small
whatever,
parish.
or young adult ministry,
for a number of reasons.
Sure. No, that's good advice. It's good advice. So check that out if you're looking or wondering. Take a look.
And keep in mind, I felt a little silly when I realized that I knew those people in my town that knew me that were on the group, because when you get in there, if you don't know anyone in there and you sort of feel like you're posting anonymously even though you're not, it's linked to your Facebook profile, your name is there, but does that make sense to you? The anonymity, even though because you don't know any of these people in person, you're like, well, I can say whatever personal things I want because I'm not going to run into them, but you could, so keep that in mind.
Absolutely. I absolutely never post anything ever that would incriminate me or anything, because it's too easy to to click on a picture and say, oh well, he was at this gas station and this whatever, you never know. Okay, well, let's play a little game and then we'll go. Did you listen to the episode with John when I asked him the 5 questions?
I did, yes.
Okay, so you know what to do, and I have here 5 numbers you cannot pick. 57. These are the 5. These are the 5 ones that I know.
It looks like Hannah wrote those numbers. Did she?
No, these are mine. 57, 257, 1.
1. Okay.
77 and 102, and then Hannah wrote in off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Gotcha.
With a backwards 4. Anyway.
All right.
So you pick 5 numbers. The only rule is you can't pick these 5.
Okay.
And you don't pick sequentially. So not 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or anything like that. And then we will, and then I'll ask you 5 random questions, and then we'll say goodnight. So, what 5 numbers would? I'm sorry.
Oh, whoa! Yes. Before we do this,
yes.
I was ready for you to ask me the question that you ask every single guest, and you didn't ask me that.
Oh, sure. Well,
and granted, I have an answer prepared because I've listened to almost all the episodes, I know what it is, but I still wanted to share.
That's a good point. Okay, so I'm sorry I forgot. Just wanted to get through the intro and get into it. So, if you could have a superpower, which one would you choose and why?
I don't know if this is technically a superpower, but an ability. Do you remember we've talked about this before? I told you what my answer would be.
Nope.
It had to do with running through a library.
Running through a library?
That's okay. I wanted the...
Oh, no.
You remember now?
No, we did discuss this. Yeah. No, I guess it's an ability. I wouldn't say that I wouldn't call it a superpower.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. But I would like to be able to, through touch, put my hand on a book and absorb the knowledge from the book. Yeah. So hence the visual, like running through a library, you're running your hands along the spines of all the books, and then all of a sudden you know everything that's in those books.
Yeah. And my contention with that is that it's problematic because first of all, how much knowledge can the mind really hold? Would you go insane? Mm-hmm. Or mental to some degree to possess so much knowledge? And 2, if you I don't even know what even example to give, but if you swiped your hand over a book that analyzed moral theology, but it made equal cases for opposing points, even in Aquinas, he gives room to the objections to points of orthodox theology. All you would have was the text. Mm-hmm. But how would you discern what would your moral guide be to take in all of this data and then to sort it out in your mind?
Yeah, I'm not saying that by touching the book, I would have not only the knowledge of what is contained inside of the book, but also the ability to it's not like I've automatically analyzed it. I would still have to be able to do that. For instance, I was an English major, so if I put my hand on a book of poetry, then I know what all the poems say, but that doesn't mean I know what every single symbol is, for instance, a metaphor or whatever.
Sure.
So, all I'm saying is that I want to have the knowledge of the text, and then I will accept the need to do the analyzing and such on my own and evaluating whether the source is credible and so on and so forth.
Should we count that as a question?
It's up to you. We don't have to. I just wanted to.
We took a lot of time to answer it, but it was a very good answer. Let's count it. But I am sorry for not asking at the beginning. That's my fault. Okay, so now you're only gonna give me four numbers.
28.
We have 28.
314.
314.
200.
One more.
15.
All right, then having chosen your numbers, here we go. First question, what are we here for? Or, why do you think we are on this planet and have life?
The first thing I'm thinking of, did you say it in the last podcast where John would always say, the purpose of life is to get to heaven and take as many people with you as possible?
Yeah, that was my incorrect answer to his question. He that's what he made all those, unsuspecting youth say at his youth rallies or whatever.
Right, we had to memorize that.
It
worked, right? It's drilled into me.
I do have it here, though, from the Baltimore Catechism. The question is, why did God make you? And for me, this would be my answer anyway. God made me to know Him, to love Him, and to serve Him in this world, and to be happy with Him forever in heaven. So
what was even the context of that in the last podcast? Because I don't remember. All I remember is John's phrase for us.
Who knows? He just goes. Okay. So you would say to...
I don't even remember what the question was now. I just thought of...
What are we here for?
What are we here for? I mean, I guess so. That's not...
Yeah.
More or less, God created us because He wanted to, and that's the end goal.
Sure. The next question, this is from Brian. Hey, Brian. If out of survival, you had to stalk, kill, and then eat a beast.
Oh, a beast,
of myth or legend.
Is it bad? I was assuming it was going to be a person. When you say stalk, that's the kind of stalking I'm thinking of, Anyway, sorry, go ahead. You finish the question.
If out of survival, you had to stalk, kill, and then eat a beast of myth and legend, or myth or legend, what would it be? What beast would it be?
Well, the first thing that comes to my mind is a unicorn because of Harry Potter.
Sure.
That's what it was, right? Maybe I'm a bad Harry Potter fan, or a centaur. No, it was a unicorn, wasn't it?
What are you talking about? I know.
In the first book,
there are 7 Voldemort.
Voldemort.
Drinks the pus from the unicorn horn, right? Isn't that how he is restored to life or something like that?
It's been a while since I've read this one, and I'm not
if
Harry Potter trivia buff.
I'm
struggling here.
We don't care. But
that's what I thought of first.
I believe, because I remember the scene from the movie where Hagrid is walking through the forest, or someone is, and there's a dead unicorn, and I felt like there was something to do with, or is it unicorn blood? So suffice to say, in all of this lower high fantasy lore, unicorns have powers all over the place. So you're saying...
But I probably cannot catch a unicorn if it's just me as a person trying
horses.
to...
Yeah. Okay.
Gosh, what's a very slow...
Abominable snowman? I don't know. Nessie?
This abominable snowman is a good answer, because then you're just basically eating snow water. You just, it's not unpleasant, because I don't really want to suck blood either. Comparing, of course, now I'm just stuck comparing this to the unicorn in my mind. I like that answer.
I think I would go after Sasquatch. First of all, to prove the myth, that it exists. I'm not saying I take a side. We would settle it, and then humanoid. So you would imagine the meat would be reasonably tender in places, and you wouldn't have to eat it raw. You can cook it. So just rotisserie it. And then survive for, I guess, a week, and then have to do this all over again. So, next question. Thank you, Brian. Has social media helped or hindered us as a species?
I would go with both.
Well, I think it's one
I
or the
have
other.
to choose one or the
I
other.
think it's either or.
All right, I guess I'll choose hindered.
Okay. Why is that?
Well, all of the benefits of social media seem like they could also be sort of a byproduct. The benefits, the things that are helping us with problems that we have because of social media. That's what I was trying to say. Or that social media has exacerbated.
Explain.
So,
I'll just give one example of that.
Let's say I'm a teenage girl and I'm posting all my pictures on Facebook and Instagram so that everyone else says, "Oh, you look so cute," and then I feel good about myself. But I feel badly about myself because I see all the other teenage girls who are cuter than me or who I think are cuter than me posting pictures on social media, for example.
Well, right, but vanity does not, the source of vanity is not social media. And it doesn't have to be for a person necessarily.
Right. I walked it back after I said source.
Yeah.
I think I said is exacerbating a problem.
Well, you said a problem caused by social media.
All right.
So I wouldn't agree with that. However, that's an excellent example of how it does hinder, a whole generation. Of course, young people aren't on Facebook anymore. They're on the dark web now or whatever it is. But
Instagram, Snapchat.
I really don't know. I really have no idea. I think the potential for good, for helping society, is remarkable. We evidence that by this project, by the Catholic Forge. But it is grossly problematic how people show their hands so quickly because exactly what we discussed earlier, the feeling of anonymity, that no one knows who I am, and certainly you can go to places on the internet where you are completely anonymous, where there's no tracking. Even Twitter is very easy to set up an anonymous account. You can be whatever you want. And so even though you think you're speaking out there in the void and no one knows who you are, it's too easy for them to just click back over to you and to message you or go into your friends list and find your mom or whatever it is. It's too problematic, and I think many times I have wanted to just unplug it entirely, if it weren't for some of these obligations I have with a small o, like the podcast or the work I do, the social media for the church or whatever it is. I would be very tempted to. I kind of envy Ben, for example, who has no accounts on any of this stuff to my knowledge, and I wish that I had never gotten involved with it in the first place. For me, even though I can see the remark. We just talked about how great this the carrot thing is. How great that is for you and for all these young women. That's wonderful, because you're right. If that wasn't there, and it's a sad reality, but it's a reality. If that wasn't there, they wouldn't have anyone. At the same time, is there a complacency there? Is there a surrender? Well, I'm never going to meet anyone in real life, so I'm just going to have friends on the internet. And of course, we would urge them to go beyond, to go further, to really reach out and to try if it's possible. So that's a tough question. I think that must have been one of mine. No one. Okay, one last question. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. Hoodie or a sweater?
Hoodie.
Zip or pullover?
Pullover.
I don't know why anyone likes that.
The zipper?
No, the pullover. I'm wearing a pullover right now and I hate it. So
Why?
I don't like it. I don't like how when I take it off, my shirt underneath grabs onto it and then it exposes my skin. I'd rather have zippers, like that sweatshirt I used to have that was so great.
That's a good point. I just feel cuddly in a hoodie. But I'm wearing a sweater right now. This is Emma's.
That's a hoodie. right?
No, there's no hood on it. See?
Wait, so you mean a sweatshirt without a hoodie is a sweater? No.
Sweatshirt, sweater, I sort of mix them together. I would never mix a hoodie and a sweater or a hoodie and a sweatshirt. But I merge sweater and sweatshirt together. I don't know what the technical definition is.
I'm going to change it. Because that is misleading. That's why we do these beta episodes.
Does it say sweater instead of sweatshirt?
Hoodie or sweater.
Yeah, I would say hoodie or sweatshirt. I think that's more accurate.
We meant sweatshirt or sweater. Yeah. Yes.
And someone submitted that.
It was me.
Probably. Oh, no, you did?
Yeah. Let's see. Are there any real easy ones to ask? We just roll.
Oh, you just asked them out of order?
Well, I asked them so that no one can track which number they were.
Oh, tricky.
Not that anyone cares. No one cares. But that's good enough. That's so until the next time we do this. There's 5 more. For what it's worth, the superpower question was number 2 on the list. So I gave one away. I'll just move it somewhere else. But so it may make sense that you ask it anyway. So.
All right.
Did you enjoy that?
Well enough, I suppose.
Yeah, I would say I feel the same way. Well, this has been the Catholic Forge. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Tori, for agreeing to this and following through. We'd like to close, as always, with a prayer and a blessing. May God the Father, God the Son,
and God the Holy Spirit bless you, guard you, and lead you to eternal life. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Amen. Thank you for listening to the Catholic Forge. We hope you've enjoyed this episode and will leave us a positive rating and review wherever you listen. How about 5 stars for breaking the glass ceiling with Tori here, okay? You can help out the show in a big way by sharing it with your friends and family. Will you share it on Facebook?
I don't know, because I don't really want people listening to me. I'm already thinking about the things that I said that sounded stupid.
Well, we can edit it out if you would like, but that is the whole point of having guests,
right.
For them to share it to their social networks.
Yeah,
and then
I'll get over it.
Share it on the.
I will share it, and maybe I'll hope no one will actually listen, except maybe my parents.
Share it on the Buckets of Brussels Sprouts one, and no, people will listen. I guarantee all the other Jordan and Jenna will listen for sure.
Right.
They will love it. Maybe. As always, you can continue the conversation with us on Facebook and Twitter. Let us know what you think about this sweater, hoodie business, so we can fix that question.
Sweatshirt.
Whatever. And to get a hold of us, you can reach us at thecatholicforge@gmail.com. For more information regarding the podcast, visit our website at www.thecatholicforge.com. We especially thank our resilient wives for their continued support of this project. And hey, thank you all very much for listening.